Good morning, children. Welcome to our English class. Children, in our today's class, we are going to read a beautiful poem that is Unit 5, Eureka, Section 3, Wilbur Wright and Orville Wright, written by Stephen Vincent Bennett. But before we move ahead, let us know about the author in detail. Stephen Vincent Bennett was born on 22nd July 1898 in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He was an American poet, short story writer, and novelist. Stephen graduated from Yale University in 1919 and he published his first novel, The Beginning of Wisdom, in 1921. He continued his studies at the Sorbonne in France, where he met and married the writer Rosemary Carr, who collaborated with him on many writing projects. Bennett was successful in a wide range of genres: novels, short stories, screenplays for films, and radio broadcast. He even wrote the lyrics for an opera. He is best known for his book-length narrative poem of the American Civil War. John Brown's Body earned him the Pulitzer Prize in 1929. Bennett also received the O. Henry Story Prize for his fantasy short story about a devil, The Devil and Daniel Webster, and a second Pulitzer Prize in 1944 for the posthumously published Western Star. Stephen Vincent Bennett died early at the age of 44 years on 13th March 1943 in New York. Children, we are now going to read a beautiful poem written by Stephen Vincent Bennett, which is given on page number 200 of your Oxford Inc. Part B reader, Unit 5, Section 3, Wilbur Wright and Orville Wright. Children, before moving ahead, let us discuss what do you understand by the term invention. Do you think inventions play an important role in our life? Yes, they do. Time does not stand still, and neither do people. People are constantly on the go and need to get things done more quickly and accurately. Invention has become part and parcel of our life. From ancient tools to the latest digital advances, these human inventions and technologies have shaped civilizations and transformed life on earth. It would be very difficult to live even a single minute without the benefit of some or the other invention. For example, if you are in a room right now, think of thousands of inventions that surround you. From the windows to the floors, to the furniture to the appliances, the device that heats or cools the room. Some inventions are famous and legendary, while others are obscure and practically forgotten. And behind every invention, there is a person or people who saw a problem or an opportunity and invented a solution or a new device. Children, think of an invention within the last 50 years that completely changed human beings' way of life. Describe this invention to your partner and discuss what life would be like for you today had this article or object not been created by its inventor. Just imagine the things around you. If all those inventions would not have existed, how would you imagine your life to be? Now, let us read a beautiful poem which is about great inventors and their invention. Wilbur Wright and Orville Wright, written by Rosemary and Stephen Vincent Bennett, is a poem which is taken from a poetry collection called A Book of Americans. It praises the hard work of America's first two aviator brothers, Wilbur and Orville Wright. Now, children, let us discuss and let us talk about who are Wilbur and Orville Wright. Popularly known as the Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright are credited with inventing the airplane. They were the first to make a successful human flight with a craft that was powered by an engine and was heavier than air. This was quite a milestone and impacted transportation throughout the world. Today, trips that previously would have taken months by boat and train can now be traveled by plane in a few hours. The Wright brothers grew up loving to invent things. They got interested in flying when their dad gave them a toy helicopter, then flew with the help of rubber bands. They experimented with making their own helicopters. And today we are going to read a poem which will praise the hard work and the efforts laid by them, which are being used by us today. Alright, children, let's read the first two stanzas today. Said Orville Wright to Wilbur Wright, "These birds are very trying. I'm sick of hearing them cheep cheep about the fun of flying. A bird has feathers, it is true, that much I freely grant. But must that stop us, W?" Said Wilbur Wright, "It shan't." And so they built a glider first, and then they built another. There never were two brothers more devoted to each other. They ran a dusty little shop for bicycle repairing, and bought each other soda pop and praised each other's daring. All right, children, let us read the first stanza once again with the explanation. In the opening lines of the poem, Orville Wright says to his brother William Wright that he is sick of hearing the sound or talking of the birds about the fun of flying. Orville continues to say that birds fly because they have feathers and it cannot be denied. Orville then questioned Wilbur if it should stop them from trying to fly, and in return Wilbur Wright replied that they shall not. Children, in this stanza, the poet says that the Wright brothers were initially inspired by the birds which flew freely across the blue sky, and they wondered about the fun of flying. In the second stanza, the poet says, "So they built a glider, and then they built another." The poet says that these two brothers were very devoted to each other, and they were without equal. They ran a bicycle repairing shop for their living and lived frugally and economically and patted each other for their daring. The poet in these lines mentions that the Wright brothers were the humble owners of a bicycle repairing shop, but nothing could deter their attempts to build a glider, their first invention. In their attempt to build a glider, they often met with obstacles and defeats, yet they never gave hope. The brothers were devoted to each other, and they patted each other's shoulder despite bleak and hopeless moments. Alright, children, that's all for today. We would be discussing the remaining two stanzas in our next video. Till then, children, take care of yourself and thanks for watching the video.